Professor, welcome. Everyone, welcome. I have a little thing over here, which I put on the board, and this is from one of my principal teachers, whose name is Dr. Roger Yanka, and Dr. Yanka is a doctor of Oriental medicine who started practicing Qigong in his late teens. And he really went to Oriental Medical School because he was so interested in Oriental medicine. And I've gotten a lot from him, and I'm going to make a little reference today for a variety of different reasons. And I had spoken to you before about the scientific and the physiological, and I'm not really very well equipped. I have a little bit of a starter's knowledge as to how some of these things fit in, but science has been on major steroids in the last 30 years, and in the last 10 at a full gallop, learning, tying together how the emotional, mental, and physiological aspects of our being contribute to or detract from wellness. And it's this whole host and this whole soup of peptides, and so I'm going to make a little reference to that. So. But we're going to start with doing a little bit of practice, okay? So we're going to get up and we're going to do our beginnings. And right before I do, I'm going to point over here. Now, I don't know how well you can see this. There is, this is the yin-yang symbol that we all know, okay? It's a sort of a stylized yin-yang symbol. Above is spirit and Shen, or pure yang, and below is earth and body and pure yin. And we are that mix of yin and yang together. And I will actually send you a copy of this later that you can see. So, but we're going to start our session as usual to do our aligning of what is called the three treasures. And the three treasures in Qigong and in Oriental medicine is earth, life, the biosphere, and spirit. So we're going to take a moment now to relax the arms. Okay, let them come down by the side. And a little bit of a hint. You remember the old westerns where that gunslinger would be ready to pull, okay? And actually the arms would be a little actually splayed away from the body. So see if you can relax them so that they're not tight, okay? And not necessarily intentionally all the way out, but find a middle ground, because this is all about finding the middle. All about finding the middle. So, relaxing the arms, feeling the solidness of the earth below us, and head rising. So these three mindful attentions, these three, we can call them remembrances. And the remembrance is that it's always there. We don't bring it on when we do it, but we remember. So, earth, spirit, life. Drop the tailbone. Let the tailbone fall as if you had that kangaroo tail. And you know, a kangaroo, when the tail is in the air, they don't have good balance. But when their tail is flopped on the ground, they're like a tripod. So become a tripod. Drop the tail. See if you can find a place on top where the head is more comfortable, because we're always tied in to watching the screen, driving the car, okay? Doing dishes, cooking, Okay, so it's going to feel a little abnormal at first. It's going to feel a little abnormal, but let the head rise into the clouds as if it can go right through the ceiling. And the heels and the feet sinking into the earth. Take a nice breath in from the belly. See if you can let it come in right from here. There's actually a saying of breathing through the heels, which is using sort of your imagination as if the breath were entering into the perineum first, belly second, chest third. So just use your imagination, see what you can do to make that happen, and we're going to do our very, very simple just moving of bringing the arms up to about mid-chest and letting them come down. And this is the priming of the pump. This is the getting ready to do the practice. It is part of the practice, but it's the getting ready. And let the breath follow as the breath will. Okay, there's a saying in Oriental medicine that blood follows chi, so that physiology actually follows the energy and not the other way around. Blood follows chi, and chi follows intention. So this stuff is happening all the time, but when we're tied up in the sympathetic chain, when we're tied up in the doing, when we're tied up in the everyday manufacturing of our modern life, well, we kind of get away from these very, very basics. So notice the sensations that are going on in the hands as you do it. Very, very important. Notice the sensations and the thoughts that occur to you as you are doing this. Okay? Catalog the thought and let it go. This is not to stop thinking, but you may think something like, hey, this is really smooth. Or, hey, oh my God, I can't believe that this is so easy and it's really soothing. Or you may say, when is this guy going to stop talking and do something else? Whatever it is, just notice the thoughts and let them go. So we've done this exercise before, and then we've done another exercise where I encourage you to notice that soft, fleshy, pulpy skin right underneath the nail bed. And see if you can do that now as you're doing this. Choose one. And as if that was a muscle, relax it. And choose another. So on many different levels, this is actually very simple, but there's very, very complex and profound things that are starting to happen. 1, by slowing the breath down, we trigger the parasympathetic. By breathing deeper, we create endorphins in the lungs that are actually fed to the brain. So we're going to do this for another minute or two. 2, we engage the parasympathetic. 3, we stop doing anything else that is contributing to making things tighter. 4, the meridians in Oriental medicine begin and end at the fingers, tips, and the ends of the toes. And like a tiny little rivulet that becomes a great river, tremendous influence upon the internal goings-on in the body can happen by working, noticing, manipulating these points. For example, And I will show you in a little while. The pinky. At the end of the pinky, on the outside, is the end of what is called the beginning of the small intestine channel, which runs up the back of the arm, the neck, into the brain. On the medial side, on the inside of the pinky, at the corner of the nail, is the beginning of the heart channel. And I will share with you some of the information on that. So we are actually having an effect upon the electrical impulses and the fascia that runs throughout the body. The fascia itself is a semiconductor, and that when we get into these very, very slow, rhythmic types of movements, we get a coordinated flow, like the pulse of a river, like the wave of an ocean. We start to come into coherence, that the electrical transmission, the piezoelectrical effect through the body and through the fascia, starts to become more coherent. So the outside of this movement is as simple as can possibly be. But there's a lot of soup being made. And soup is actually a very good metaphor, because in order to make soup, what we have to do is get heat and put it under the cauldron. And if we look at that little diagram over there, the Shen, which is the yang, is on top, and the job in Qigong is to use the observation, use the Shen, use the spirit, and cook it under the body. So what we're doing is we're taking our observation, we're taking our awareness, we're taking our sensations from what is out there, from what is going on in the normal everyday world, and we are turning that around, and we are starting to cook. And the observation itself is the heat. And if you don't believe that, well, how hot is anxiety? Right? Just how hot does it happen when we fritter away our energy? And that's a good word, right? We fritter it away. So here, we're taking that keen, keen observation, and I will say it again, the observation itself in Qigong and in recovery and in recovering the way, the observation is the medicinal process. So we're going to do this 3 more times now, and then we're going to move on. So you can take this last 2 to multitask, drop the tail, let the head rise, get back into those 3 adjustments, so that when we finish the 3rd one, we all look like absolute Qigong wizards, because we got that horse stance going, we got the head rising, we got the feet sinking and elongating the internal portion of the body. So this is going to be the last one, and coming down. And before we move on, we're going to drop that tail, and one of the things that happens when we drop the tail is that we start to lose the lock in the knee. Lose the lock. Now this is exercise and this is work, and this builds stamina. And the knees actually are not meant to hold weight, they are meant to transmit weight. So drop the tail, lose the lock, head rising, and notice how much extra room we're making internally. Now, when you want to make a really nice big soup, you need the right ingredients, but you also need the vessel. Tremendous, tremendous asset to have a nice big vessel. Let's bring our hands in front. Bring the hands in front. okay? And make that little ball of chi as if we're going to make that ball, but bring it toward the lower abdomen, okay? Bring it toward the lower abdomen and kind of just do this little kind of circle. Okay, and of course, if you want, and it's really great, and it's, I'm going to use an old word, groovy, okay, to feel that chi. That's a perfectly good word we got robbed of, in the 60s. I think we ought to bring that word back. I'm so sorry we lost that word. When you use the word groovy, what happens? Does a big hook come and take you out of circulation? Come on. So let's do that, and we're going to groove on that sensation, right? And we're going to share it here a little bit below the navel. Now, in Qigong, there are 3 major energy centers. One of them is called the Sea of Qi, and it is the lower dantian. And people would also call it the third brain, and it's located roughly between the level of the kidneys and the navel, and it's in this general lower area. And there are actually thoughts and ideas that electrical energy is actually stored here. The layers of fat, salt, and water. Fat, salt, and water in the lower dantian. Well, these are the essences of what we need for a battery. Okay? This is one of the aspects of the 3 treasures. This is called Jing, essence. The other one is Shen, the mind, the brain, the nervous system. There's a point called Ba Hui, which is Du 20, which is on the top of the head, the apex of the head. And that is called the gathering of 100 yang. 100 yang. And as if we were a marionette and there was somebody pulling a string there, okay? Imagine that there was somebody pulling a string. So we got the hands down here, and there's an imaginary puppeteer out there, okay, raising the head. Okay, and we're going to bend those knees again. So if you thought this is not exercise, this is exercise. And the third, dantian, energy field, is the heart, the elixir field of the heart. And the heart has more power, more electricity than any organ in the body. So notice the heart. And what we're going to do is leave one hand down here and bring another hand up around the heart. And on a non-emotional level, this is when we look inside. We're not going to look inside emotionally here. This is not an emotional work. This is physical work. Just bring the open palm around the heart and see if you get some sort of resonance between the body and the hand. Okay? So what we're looking for is not necessarily in the body, and it's not necessarily in the hand, although we will feel that. It's that same sort of fluffiness, that same sort of magnetism, that same sort of, oh my God, there's something there. Okay? So we got these all working. We got the head rising, the middle dantian, the heart, and the lower dantian, the essence. And if you look over at that chart over there, the heart is where yin and yang come together. And that is our emotional self. That is our life self. That is where all of our dreams, our aims, our ambitions. Okay? Now, I'm starting to feel almost sort of like a an electric, tingly, tingly, tingly type feeling. You may or may not. Okay? So these are the three dantians. And in Qigong, this is what we work with. And in Recovering the Way, we also make use of them. So we're going to now let our hands down. Okay? And we're going to do our old friend of gathering heaven and earth. And this is, again, this is our warm-up. This is our warm-up for today. So the lower field is yin, and that is body, that is the elements themselves, the periodic chart, the physical world that actually exists. And we're going to enrich ourselves as if we're taking our vitamins. And then to the field of pure energy, that which is the animating force. So this is the animating force of life, but it is not life. This is the animating force. And notice now the elixir field of matter and energy as one. Now, in the dualistic world where we talk about mind and body, and we talk about energy and matter, we're trained to understand that this is a dualistic world, and there is such a thing as matter, there is such a thing as energy, and this is the natural state of the world. And I'm not here to say that there aren't times when that is so. However, Qigong is a noticing of what is called the unified field. The unified field, the one, the at one. So when we talk about, and even in recovery, we talk about a notion of the divine, a notion of a power greater than or conterminous to ourselves. The mind really has a hard time with that because it is a mind and soma as one. So we are knitting together here, okay, the paradigm of mind and body into what is called the unified field. And the unified field is something that is experienced and the mind can watch it. It is experienced and the body can feel it. So this is what we would call a mystic experience. This is a mystic practice with practical roots, and it is brought on at will. So in terms of the solid world, what is it that we're trying to assimilate? We could say, well, I want to get me a Cadillac. And I can't say that that won't happen with this practice, but I think we should start off with something a little more modest. And how about orienting the molecules, the cells, orienting the matter in my body to come into coherence and regulation. And then, how about having my sense of perception, my sense of awareness become sharper? So, what is it that you would like to gather? And you don't have to tell me or say, but use your everyday thinking mind and say, hey, I'd like to get some of this. And go ahead and do it. This is mining. This is harvesting. And now we're going to multitask here. Okay, when we do this one, we're going to multitask before we do it. Hand's going to come down. And we're going to make this nice and slow. We're going to drop the tail, get that kangaroo tail on the floor. Head rising, body lengthening, arms opening further and further out, bending as much as is comfortable for you. And a nice, real, deep, big gather, and notice what it feels like as you do that. Notice what it feels like as you're bringing that product into you. And this is going to be the last one, so funneling down. This is not so much as collecting, but opening up a portal to a higher awareness. Wonderful. And we're going to close this one with a closing, which is pretty interesting because we didn't do an opening. But what we're going to do is we're going to let our hands down. And we've been standing here. I commend you, you've been standing for quite a while. And a closing is that what we do is we pour our weight onto one side. So, and then the hands are going to come out. I'm just showing you what we're going to do, up and down. So what we're going to do is let our weight pour onto one side, and as we do that, hands come out. Bring the leg in. And this is now kind of honoring and noticing. And as the hands come down now, the midline of the body, notice what it feels like as the hands pass over the center of the forehead, the bridge of the nose, the cleft of the palate, the lips, the chin, underside of the chin, the larynx, sternum, center of the sternum, xiphoid process, navel. Great. There is a channel that goes from the cleft of the palate to the perineum. Cleft of the palate to the point, you know where, the perineum, the center between the sexual organs and the anus. And that is called the dew channel. It is called the conception vessel. And the energy optimally, not always, flows down. There is a channel called the Ren channel. Excuse me, that is the Ren channel. That is the Ren channel. It is the conception. Then there's one that is called the dew channel, and the dew channel runs from the perineum up over the top of the head, the forehead, and back down to the cleft in the palate. And like there are three energy centers, there are actually three places that are called three gates for energy passage. And where it may seem, oh, that's a gate, I can get the energy easily to go through that. Actually, the gate in Oriental medicine is a place where it really gets occluded and we have to work at it. And one of the gates is at the top of the sacrum. Another one of the gates is around the back of the heart. And the third one is what is called the jade pillow, which is at the bottom of the skull, of the bony skull. So what we do in Qigong is that we try to get this energy moving. Now, we all know what the sensation is when the energy is not moving. Because how many of us have said, I don't know where I am, I'm all stuck, I'm up in the air, I'm not grounded. And what happens is a lot of stuff gets stuck right here. So what we do in Qigong, and we're going to actually emulate this motion, and there's a movement that we do in Qigong. Let's get that that ball of qi going again, okay? And what we're going to do is we're going to push out and down. And then we're going to come closer to the body and we're going to come up and in. And then we're going to push out and down. And we're going to now work the breath here. And as we breathe in, imagine energy coming up the spine. And as we breathe out, it's like a waterfall cascading down, like it's just, oh, thank God. Now, getting the energy up is work. And I'm going to give you a little trick on how to start that. So, you know when we are passing water, and if we want to stop it, we have to use the perineum. Okay, we use the perineum to stop the stream of urine. We all know what that is. Now, we're going to use that actually to our advantage, almost as if we're sipping with a straw. And what we're going to do now is as we come up, breathing in and tighten the perineum, and imagine you're sipping energy coming up the spine. You can do that a few times. And it's actually good exercise. It's good exercise for the bladder. It's good exercise for the sexual organs. It's good exercise for bladder control. So as we come up, sipping. A little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. And again, a little sip. A little sip, a little sip, a little sip, a little sip, a little sip. So what we're doing here, and continue to do it, is that we are using the thinking everyday mind to tune in physiologically on the body, tuning in on what's going on. We are becoming much more aware. And in Qigong, that is a really, really good thing. In life, that's a really, really good thing. Make this the last one. And then come down. We're really cooking now with some of this qi. We're really cooking, and we're going to make this ball again. And if you're really tired, sit down if you're tired. If you're okay standing, this is really great exercise. So we're going to now take this ball and we're going to make it top to bottom. Okay? Now, we have been practicing for the last half an hour on elongating ourselves and making the center of our body, right, longer to increase what? The size of the vessel for cooking. And now as we breathe in, we're going to stretch it. And then breath out, come down. And we're going to do this 3 times. And you can use this little bird's beak to open. And then the push to come down. And then opening. And then down. And then, oh my God, I didn't realize that I was cooking the wrong way, or I was looking at it the wrong way. How many times have we looked at something and then realized we were really wrong and it was actually opposite of what we thought? Well, I'll be darned. Here we go. Now we have an opportunity to correct. So we see things one way, and then we see it another. And you may now really start to get some sort of a sensation like you're pulling something, like you're pulling taffy. Okay, coming back to the middle. Wonderful. And we're going to now go to our left, point to the left, and we're going to say, that's yesterday. and then look right straight ahead at today. Can I notice that yesterday was there, and now coming back in, but stay here in this moment? And then the hand of tomorrow, we're going to notice there's tomorrow. We notice it, but we're going to bring our attention back to this very moment. Can we stay here in this very moment? And again, noticing. Yesterday has a lot of memories, it has some regrets, it has some, oh my gosh, but we're rooted right here now. We're rooted in this present moment. And then tomorrow. And then when we come back, we're going to finish up this segment, our gathering breath, as if there's a bowl of some valuable elixir, and wash ourselves with it. It says, like in the Old Testament, they anointed themselves with oil. And in the church, you see these icons with the lights coming from their head. You are anointing yourself with oil. You are blessing yourself. We're not used to that. Allow yourself to bless yourself. Wish yourself healing. Wish yourself wellness. That I am taking steps here to become at one the unified field theory, quantum, has a lot to do and a lot to say with what we're doing. So we're going to do this now 3 times quietly for ourselves. Okay? This is the first one. Fantastic. Okay, now we got these little bird's beaks. We can make bird's beaks with our hands, okay? Little bird beaks. We've been doing a lot of stuff working internally, bringing things up to the surface. Let's use a little bird's beak here, and what we're going to do is just flick away some of this stuff which has been coming to the surface. Stuff that we don't need anymore here, now, in this very moment. And just a question, does it feel like something's happening? And who are we to say that it's not? So in recovery, the second step is coming to believe that powers greater, conterminous, within, without ourselves, could restore us to sanity and wholeness, could restore us to balance. And this paradigm of yin and yang is an incredibly wonderful paradigm to use for healing and making a decision, okay, to turn our will and our lives over, suspending disbelief, possibly believing in a unified field, that the world of dualism is not all that we see. That's a game changer. Great. Fantastic. And shake out a little bit. Take a nice breath in, big breath. Okay? I'm going to teach you a real old secret Taoist breath practice. Now, if you tell anyone, they're going to throw me out of the society, so you can't tell anyone, okay? But I'm going to show it to you, okay? But you didn't learn it from me, okay? We're going to go like this. We're going to breathe in like this, breathe in, and then we're going to go, That's it. Doesn't that feel good? Okay, I'm going to do it again. Breathe in. Now, a nice, long, deep exhale when we do it. See how far the air can come out before the body goes into a state of alarm, okay? So we're going to breathe in from the belly, breathe in from the chest, hands up. And that's it for this segment. Wonderful. You all passed the test. That was fantastic. So I'm going to sit down now because I want to show you a few things. So is the mic still good? Am I still with you? Okay, last week that's how I lost my microphone. I clipped it on something, and we're going to actually open it up. Whoever would like to can unmute, okay? But I want to show you a little something. We were talking here, this is a book called Acupuncture, okay? And I bought this, I think in 2004, when I was just starting to get acupuncture and Qigong. And it's a tome, okay? It's a tome, and actually my acupuncturist kind of laughed at me when I bought it. And after a couple of years, not laughing. So, but I want to show you, I was talking about that point here, that point in the nail of the pinky, and that is actually called small intestine 1, okay? So I'm not making this stuff up. It actually does exist, and I'm going to tell you what some of the, okay, so it is a point in the small intestine channel, and it is called the Jing Well point. And by the way, there are points that are called the well point, the stream point, the river point, and actually it works up to the sea point. So it's very cosmological. So things like heat rising to the eyes, nose and tongue or throat, a feeling like we can't get our words out, stagnation of liver qi. So, and it is for agitation of the heart, oppression, pain in the chest, mania disorder. Now, they used to call, you know, in this book, in the old text, they would describe something as the desire to get on a hilltop and scream. Okay, you know, that's like if you're really tied up. So then there is 2 other points I'm going to show you. So we've done a point. Remember, I've told us to do that squeeze here, okay, between the ring finger, okay? Now that is called heart 8, okay? That's in the heart channel. And that particular point is used for, emotional factors, oppression, excessive in the chest. Here you go, excessive sighing, fearfulness, and a plum stone chi. Plum stone chi is, did you ever have a feeling like you wanted to get your words out and you just couldn't get them out because there was something stuck in the chest? Okay, that's called a plum pit or a plum stone chi. And then there is heart 9. Am I there? Here, heart 9. And heart 9 is on the other side of the nail bed in the pinky, right? The other side of the nail bed. So when I talk about noticing that soft, fleshy skin under the nail bed, and as if it's a muscle, relaxing it, what we're doing is we are starting to use the mind to activate the chi in the body. Now, if we can get this moving and develop sensation here, what happens is we're having an effect through the entire body, okay? And when we do that with our feet, the same thing happens. So when we activate this sense of chi that we have a choice, and we can say, well, is that make-believe or is it real? And whereas I will say that suggestion plays a part in everything that there is, to dismiss this as totally synthetic not only is a poor choice to make, but it flies in the face of a lot of research, and it flies in the face of thousands of years of clinical use and clinical practice. So what we're doing here, and a lot of what we've been doing today, is really the basics of a mature Qigong practice. And it is starting to develop the sensations and understand that there's really something going on there. So I'm also going to be sharing with you, I want to see if I can get this up. Now, let's see, share screen. Let's say, not the desktop, I want to open this, okay? Give me 1 second, I'm going to open something. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to try to share this. There we go. So I was involved in the teaching of a course at the Omega Institute. I was one of the contributors, and this was a number of years ago. Let me see if I can get this a little bit smaller. This was a class called Integral Energetics. And I will actually, there we go. So in it, it's actually 150 pages or so. I'm going to share this with you if you like, and it's an organization called the Institute of Integral Qigong and Tai Chi. But in the beginning, and you got to remember, this is already 10 years old. There's so much that has happened already. The physiological equivalent, structure and chemistry, energetic of functions. So, and if you know, there's electromechanical, biochemical, and this goes into many, many different aspects, but this is really the physiological, just on a very, very general layperson. Something that I want to do that I forget to do is to ask for your email address, so we can put you on our email list if you have not sent it. And even if you have, if you will send it again, and I'm going to give you the email address, which is so easy to remember, even doing Qigong. And it is dan@recoveringtheway.com. And if you send me, even now, again, your email address, we will start to compile, and I can send this document out. And again, Dr. Yanka was a tremendous influence on me, and he still does teaching and work. So I will share this with you if you so desire. So we haven't done a lot of what we would call the, oh, did I lose you? No, you're still all there. There we go. Okay. Okay. Oh, share screen. Are we still sharing the screen or no? I'm gonna, okay.
Yes.
We are. Okay, thank you. I'm gonna try to get that. Okay, so I'm trying to stop share. It works much better if I read the directions. So listen, welcome back. We didn't do a lot of the recovering the way aspect of this today, but I'm going to close the meeting with one of the moves that we do. So in the 12-step paradigm, and we may have done this before, in the 12-step paradigm, one of the confusing things that happen, and it's also a stumbling block, not only for people in recovery, but for a lot of people is, well, either I have no belief in God, no belief in higher power, or I have no idea what it is, and how do I even begin to get there? And part of it is that the noticing of the mystic state is a bodily apprehended situation. And we were in what is called that unified field, and there's a lot more understanding available to us about the divine when we get into that state. And so since we've been doing a lot of that work today, we're going to end with that today. And we're going to stand back up. So normally I would be talking, well, we're going to do our 3 and 10 full mindful adjustments, but we've been cooking with this all day. So let's just get ourselves back and lose the lock, get ourselves into that central good place. And have your hands kind of cupped, okay? Kind of cupped. And they're going to come under the arms, under the armpits. It feels a little unnatural to begin with, but I will tell you that the heart channel begins here and pericardium is here. So this is another place for us to actually try to cultivate a sense of chi in the body. Okay? So one hand is here, and we're going to take one of our hands, doesn't matter, I'm using my right, and we're going to cross the body, whole body turning. And we're going to ask ourselves, what is my understanding and notion of the divine? What might God mean to me? And out of all that there is in the world, everything that we can see and everything that we can apprehend, everything that we notice and intuit, infer, think, observe, what could it possibly be? What could the divine mean? And when we reach out front, we reach out and grab it. And notice what it is as we bring in. Just pay attention. This is observing. This is not figuring out. What does the divine mean to me? in recovery, there is something called the 11th step. And it says, sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God, praying only for the knowledge of His will for us and the power to carry that out. And please, use your own pronoun, use your own word for the divine. This is the idea. And there's a lot of good information that is coming through via the body, via the corpus, that we will process later. Put a little smile on. Make yourself smile. And this is the last one. Hands coming together. Make a little ball of chi. Collect together some saliva in the mouth. As if you're swishing, as if you're washing your mouth. As if you've got a little piece of candy or something there. And we're going to make this ball a little smaller. We're going to bring it up, and yep, you know what we're going to do. We're going to swallow it. When you're ready, swallow. And trace it. Trace it slowly down. Hands coming up in a little prayer gesture. And bow to yourself and all of the other practitioners here today for coming. Thank you. Send me an email, dan@recoveringtheway. Refer. And I look forward to seeing you all again. This same chi station, this same chi time. And we're going to develop more classes during the next few weeks. So thanks a lot. You're welcome to unmute yourself.
Thanks, Dan.
Wonderful.
You are welcome. You are all welcome. Thank you.
Great.
Thank you. And
Thank you.
yeah, I will be posting this entire class on YouTube. Okay? Probably be tomorrow or the next day. But this was a good one. Okay?
And
Yes.
thank you so much.
You're
I
welcome.
think it's a testament to your class. Erica is joining from her hospital room in Chicago. It just shows you how this really helps people. Thank you so
Okay.
much.
Great.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well,
Okay, let's all get a little ball of chi. Okay, get a little ball of chi. Do you see Erica on your screen? You see her? Okay, wherever she is on your screen, let's send some healing energy to Erica. And I'll bet you feel it too.
you can see it. You can see she feels it.
Only one? Come on, one more. Come on.
Cosmo's sending it too.
I hear. But by carrier pigeon, no less. Yes.
Carried it all the way to Chicago.
Thank you, everyone. We'll see you again.
And
Yeah.
Thank you all.
my blood pressure came down 40 points during that session.
Wow.
40,
Oh, that's great.
40.
What is it?
You're something else.
Okay, this is clinical. This is research. Thank you for that. That's very important. Okay, these are simple tools, Erica. Keep using them.
I do.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Everybody.
Bye-bye now.
Bye.